What's up, everybody? Jack Farr here. I'm here with James. I'm going to try my hardest throughout this conversation, James, to just explain to people what's going on, because Twitter's a scary place. You can feel like you see 2 or 3 tweets and you think the world has this one opinion, right? But that's not the case. Just because like you've seen tens of tweets does not mean that's the opinion of the world, right? A lot of stuff can change and can be different. And what I'm talking about in reference to is Barcelona. What the hell is going on with Barcelona? There are loads of debt. They're signing loads of players. They owe Frankie de Jong money. They owe Gerard Piqué money. They owe Marc-Andre ter Stegen money. How is this working? The club's about to go bankrupt, but they're activating levers, economic levers, and now they have money and they can buy Lewandowski and Rafinha and Jules Koundé and all these kind of guys. What the hell's going on, right? Don't seem to be selling too much. So first of all, I guess I just want to give you kind of like, what's your initial takeaway of what you think's going on? And now I'm going to try my hardest. Guys, I'm no expert, right? There are some people on Twitter I could get you to follow who really know their stuff. I'm going to try my best to explain to people what's going on.
I'm not the business guy when it comes to football. I'm more about what goes on the pitch and a little bit what goes behind the scenes, but mainly I'm a guy that's on the field. And Jack, as I said with this Barcelona thing, it's getting ridiculous now. It's getting to a point where I believe the Barcelona have punked the football world, Jack. They've literally, because Jack, there was a time where apparently the Barcelona couldn't pay off their light bills and all that sort of stuff there. They can't sign players. And Jack, for some weird reason, since Xavi has arrived, think about it. In January, they signed Ferran Torres for Man City for what? Nearly 50-odd million, Jack.
Yeah, that was a dumb deal. Yeah.
That was, again, I was like, wow. Like, Man City must have been licking their lips. Ferran Torres is a good player, but 50-odd million, you're like, for a guy who didn't feature as much with Manchester City. Now, to this summer now, I'm hearing Barcelona don't have the funds. Yeah, they don't have the funds to compete with the rest of Europe. For some weird reason, Jack, they've just signed Lewandowski for 50-odd million. Rafinha for 50-odd million.
Lewandowski.
They've just agreed to sign Jules Koundé. Yeah? Like, this is just, it's not making sense, Jack. I don't want to talk about the players that they owe, but if you tell the football world that you don't have money and you're trying your absolute best to get Lewandowski, Jack, do you know how many bids Barcelona made until they finally got Lewandowski? Rafinha. I
hear it.
Like they weren't meant to compete with Chelsea. They weren't meant to compete with like Bayern Munich financially because they told us that they didn't have the money.
Well, and James, like you said, they're competing, maybe not with Lewandowski, but with Rafinha, with Koundé, with these guys. They're competing with a club that has money, that has a new owner who's happy to spend money. So they should not be in this kind of position. So here's what I'm going to do very quickly. You're aware of financial fair play, right? In La Liga, there's something called a squad cost limit, right? Now, the difference between financial fair play and the squad cost limit is here and now and present and ongoing. Okay, so if you break the rules and you're caught doing it there and then, you get done for it. Financial fair play is a retrospective. Okay, so retrospective means you look back on it. Okay, so if somebody breaks the rules, you can see it in their accounts, you can see what's happened, and then you can go, tell you what, you've been caught. Now you're gonna be in trouble. Barcelona in La Liga, it's something where it's current, right? Now, COVID has affected across football. Guys, okay, it's affected across football, much more in the lower leagues, but the bigger teams have been hit a lot financially speaking. Okay, now the way that the squad cost limit works is, and this is all, I can post a link to Tifo IRL did a fantastic video on it which really helped me understand it as well. It's something called, the equation is what your revenue is, so that's the amount of money you make in a year, minus your expenses and your debt repayments. Okay, now when you have that, if you're under your squad cost limit, you can spend as much as you like. If your revenue minus your expenses and your debt is in positive, you're up, you're green, right? Spend as much as you want, go crazy, register players. I mean, obviously there's limitations on non-EU players and all this kind of stuff, but you go nuts, you go crazy. Now, what's happened with Barcelona is their debt, James, at the moment is about 1.3 billion. Okay, now you might go, Jesus, what the hell? The reason why they've been claimed to not having any money is because their debt repayments, it was very short term. So the payments needed to start coming in over the next year or two. What they've done is they've restructured their debt. They've made it much more long term. They did it with Goldman Sachs, I believe, in the US. So they've made their debt much, much more long term. So they don't have to repay everything as early as they did before. However, they're over this squad cost limit. So James, they can't sign any new players, right? They can't register any new players. They can't sign any new players. So you think, well, hang on, how's that happening, right? What the hell's going on here? What you need to do in that situation, that equation, revenue minus expenses and debt repayment, the thing that is in their control is increasing their revenue. So what have we seen, right? 10% of the next 25 years of broadcasting rights for Barcelona have been sold for 207.5 million euros. Tick, there's some revenue. There's 207.5 right now. Boom. What are they about to do? Sell an additional 15% of their TV revenue over the next 25 years. That's going to be about 330, 400 million euros. And supposedly there's going to be a 49% sale with this merchandising company worth 200 million euros. So all
and also,
that debt,
just remember the naming rights of the new camp.
Spotify. Yep, you're absolutely right. That made a big part too. So that equation that I'm talking about, here's your expenses. Whoa, here's your debt. Whoa, against this revenue, which has just exploded. Now they have some stuff to play with. Now, they still owe players some money. They're still doing all this stuff. My problem, and they're still waiting to do that additional 15%, and they're still waiting to sign off these deals. The problem though, James, and this is where we finally get into the conversation. Sorry, I had the long explanation. They're leveraging their future, James. That's 25% of the broadcasting. We know, you and I know, university, how much TV broadcasting rights plays into a football club. 25% of the next 25 years.
Is that only for La Liga or is that for Champions League?
It's La Liga. It's La Liga. But still, as we know, right? And Barcelona will be in the Champions League, of course. But Premier League television rights, I mean, I know La Liga is not the same, but it's still a lot of money. James, you know what? I hate to bring it up. Is it a problem if you sell La Liga TV rights if you think you'll be playing in a European Super League in the next 5-10 years?
Oh.
I'm just saying, if I sell you something that in my head has no value, but to you, you think there's value, I sell you this pen, James, this valuable pen, but then I'm not even going to be using that pen anymore because I got this other pen, this European Super League pen that I'm going to be using. I'm being a bit of a conspiracy theorist there, but I'm just saying that's the way it's looking to me. Because all this maneuvering, they are leveraging their future and they are rolling the dice here. We might not be talking about Barcelona existing as a football club if this doesn't go the way that they want it to go.
But let's look at then. We're talking about what's going to happen in the future. Let's talk about what's going to happen right now.
Yes.
From what I see from Barcelona, there is an overhaul of a very, very big squad and a lot of overplayed players. Where do they go from here, Jack? Because think about it right now. You have two 34-year-old strikers that I don't think it's that bad when they really look at it. They just gave Dembele a new 2-year deal. Yes, they just signed Jules. They just agreed a deal for Jules Koundé. They just signed Lewandowski. They also signed Rafinha. They also got Messi on a Barcelona. Got a lot of players. Christensen. Yeah, so they got a lot of players
negotiating with Azpilicueta.
You know, where do they go? Because apparently, with Frankie De Jong's situation is that Xavi and Joan Laporta, they want him to stay. But if they have Frankie De Jong stay, Jack, they're gonna have too many bodies to register. To me, it's not making sense player-wise. Now, the squad is looking over.
So they hold the cards still. Okay, they still hold the cards. And you might think this is cruel and rude. And this is, James, it's part of the reason Barcelona are fast becoming one of my least favourite teams. I've got to be honest with the way they're operating. I'm hating it at the moment. I really am. They're trying to sell players. Umtiti for sale, Depay for sale, Frankie de Jong for sale. All these players who they think they can get a little money on, they're trying their hardest. They're trying. But everyone knows Barcelona's position. It's not easy to negotiate this way. Frankie de Jong's situation is a really good one to talk about. They can just not put him forward for the squad. They go, take a pay cut, accept going somewhere else, or you can stay on the same wage that you have, but you won't be playing football because we're not going to register you for our squad. You can play with Barcelona B. You can do now. I don't know if they're going to do that, but they hold all the cards. It's not up to Frankie de Jong whether he gets registered or not. He's got the player rights. He's got the Barcelona have the rights. Again, the way I see that shaking out, I do fully expect. I don't think Frankie de Jong is going to take a pay cut. I think that's criminal. I really do. I see him playing football elsewhere. Is that Manchester United? I don't know. Is that Chelsea? I don't know, right? But for me, Barcelona still feel like they're holding the cards because, James, that revenue, as long as that revenue is good, they can still bring in these players. And as long as some of the other players have left, which is what they're working on right now, they'll be able to register these new guys going into next season.
I just feel like this football club right now, there's so much going on. There's so much of a mess. And Jack, another elephant in the room that I want to bring up, and Messi should be a free agent like 2 or 3, like in 2 seasons' time. Don't be surprised if Messi's a Barcelona. No, don't be surprised. He will be a Barcelona player in 2 seasons. So it's like, so you got Lewandowski, you got Aubameyang still going to be on the team. Imagine having Messi there, and this players like, I mean,
James, well, listen. So it's called a palancas, right? That's the Spanish for levers, right? And that's what we keep seeing on Twitter. They're activating economic levers, right? If this pays off, it's one of the greatest high risk, high reward things that we've ever seen in history. If you actually look at what Barcelona are going to have as a squad, be able to compete with Xavi Hernandez as the coach, you've got to say hats off. You guys, you did a fantastic job. Good for you. But James, 25 years is a long time. 25% is a lot of your broadcasting revenue on top of anything else that you're giving up for your short term being able to cover you. And again, it's a huge risk, a lot of this stuff. But
also, like the way you mentioned Barcelona are doing this long term, the way that they're building the squad right now, it doesn't look long term. So for me, it's what the finance is saying, it's the squad is saying something completely different. So that's why I'm trying to. It just doesn't make sense for me.
No, but James, again, right? 70, 85 million for Frankie de Jong, boom. 20 million Memphis Depay, boom. 20 million for Samuel Umtiti, right? For this player, for that player, for all these guys that are potentially on the fringes or maybe going to be sold, things do start to change ever so slightly, right? Especially with getting wages off the books and all this stuff. They're trying to limit their expenses as much as they can with what they have, limit their debts as much as they can. But remember, they've restructured their debt. All you're doing is not kicking the can down the road. That's all you're doing. That can, as you keep walking, can's going to get closer and closer. You can't keep kicking it down the road. You really, really can't. And that's what worries me. And if I'm a Barcelona fan, that's what I'm starting to get really worried about, because I see a lot of Barcelona fans thinking, oh, we'll be fine. We're Barcelona. We're this, we're that. When the bills needs to be paid, James, and you're there with a bunch of players who are overpaid or this or that, James, I tweeted this the other day. If I'm Frankie de Jong, Gerard Piqué, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, class action lawsuit, deferred wages, pay him back. I want him back. Where's my 17 million, 19 million, etc., etc.? Seriously.
Do you know what it is? I'm not a financial aid guy. I like money, but I'm not great with finance. This is Jack. To be fair, you've been absolutely great.
I've tried. Can I just say I'm no
during
expert.
This video to break it down.
Yeah. Like, just quickly, I know we haven't got long left here. At the moment, Barcelona are on 1.3 billion with a B euros worth of debt. By this time next year, it was going to be definitely closer to 1.5 billion. Now, I don't know what their plan is, what they're going to do, but they need to get out of this hole that they're in. COVID has screwed them. But James, COVID has screwed everybody. So I don't want to hear that as an excuse.
Barcelona fans, where do you guys go from there? Where are you going to get the money? To me, obviously, this season, Barcelona look like they're going to compete. I think compete for Champions League and definitely compete for La Liga. I feel like you guys improved so much compared to Real Madrid, who, to me, yet they brought them some nice little players here or there, but they haven't strengthened as much. So you definitely are in the build to win La Liga. But guys, where are you getting this money from, and where does Barcelona go from here? Comment down below, guys. Chelsea fans, I need to know, because you've been absolutely fleeced by Barcelona. Please tell me know how you feel about this. Real Madrid fans, Jed, everyone, comment down below, guys. This is Box to Box Football, Jack and James, and we will see you next time.